What's cracking YouTube? It's Matty B. Welcome back to the channel, and as always, thank y'all for tuning in. I sure do appreciate it a ton. Earlier today, I put out my 250 Pro Motocross preview for the 2025 season. That'll be kicking off at Fox Raceway this weekend, and now it's time to break down the 450s. And for this year, I am way more excited about the 450 class than I am the 250 class. I feel like there are a whole lot more questions and answers heading into this one. For starters, we have Jett Lawrence, who missed most of the series last year with injury and then missed most of the Supercross series this year with injury. But if you think back to 2023, the dude had a perfect season, so he's got to be coming in as one of the favorites, regardless of his health. And then we have Sexton, who narrowly missed out on the Supercross championship this year and is going to be the defending champion heading into 450 motocross. We got a newcomer here in the USA, the two-time MXGP champion Jorge Prado on the Kawasaki. And he's also coming back from injury, along with Tomac, who's coming back from a leg injury that he sustained early in Supercross. But we all know he's got the dog in him outdoors. Can't forget about the other Lawrence brother. Hunter had an awesome breakout year last year as a rookie in the 450 class. We got this year's Supercross champion, Cooper Webb, maybe coming in injured, but he says he's in for the duration. His teammate Justin Cooper, El Hombre, who has surfaced and is alive, Malcolm Stewart, Justin Barcia, Aaron Plessinger, a small handful of foreign racers from the MXGP series who have made the trip across the pond to contest in the US series this summer, and many, many more. I'm going to do my best to get into as many riders as possible. I've seen the entry list. I know who's on these teams, so we'll get all into who's in, who's out, and in general, who's racing the 450 class during the dog days of summer this year in 2025. And of course, we have no choice but to get into the Prediction National. I'll give you guys my top 10 of what I think's going down this year. And it's shaping up to be an epic summer with a stacked field full of riders that are just returning to full health, as well as a lot of epic tracks on the circuit starting out this weekend at Round 1 at Box Raceway. Then you head up to NorCal for Bangtown, then the altitude in Colorado for Thunder Thighs Valley. Alright, I'll stop with the names, but then you got High Point, Southwick, Redbud, Millville, Washougal, Ironman, which is a little earlier in the schedule this year because it's the site of the Motocross of Nations. And then the last two rounds finish out with Unadilla and Budds Creek. The closest race to me is going to be the finale, and I have something in the works that I want to do for two strokes. I'm past my prime, and I want to see some two strokes, dicing it up with the 450s. Think Washougal 2023 and the Moto Memes guy. I'm just going to leave it at that. But I am beyond excited for this series to kick off. I feel like I have at least a little bit more expertise when it comes to outdoors compared to Supercross, because I've at least raced at all these tracks, albeit I'm using the word race pretty loosely because what I did out there does not even compare to what those guys do out there, but I've at least been lapped by them, so I've got a very good idea of how fast they are, and it's insane. So yeah, enough rambling. Let's go ahead and get into the good stuff. Here are my top 10 predictions for the points overall for 450 motocross in 2025, starting with the 10 spot. And in 10th, I have Malcolm Stewart, brand new to FXR. How freaking crazy is that? I feel like we need to check hell for ice. But I think Malcolm's just going to be there every weekend and around that 8 to 12 spot. Last year, I think he was a little better, but I think the field is also a little bit more stacked this year. And he was a lot better in Supercross this year, but I feel like he's always been a better Supercross guy than outdoors. So a P10 might be selling him short. I'm sure we'll see some injuries throughout the season, and maybe he'll end up better, but I just see him hovering around that area. Then in the 9 spot, I don't really know what to think about this one, but I have Cooper Webb, and if he were healthy, and if he were for sure in for the whole season, which he's saying he is, but he has no choice but to say that, then I would for sure think he would grind it out and be better than 9th. But reports are that he's coming in with a bad thumb that's actually been injured since before the Supercross season, and we all know how much money comes along with the Super Motocross Championship at the end of the season. So if the first few rounds don't go great, I really could see him going under the knife and getting that thing fixed and making sure he's ready to make the big bucks. But he is Cooper Webb. He's got that chip on his shoulder, and you just never know what you're going to get out of this guy. But the P9 prediction is kind of going off of him not finishing the series. In 8th, I've got Jason Anderson. Where the hell has this guy even been? Did he head to Narnia or something? But the good news is he's back. I saw him ride at Glen Helen the other day, and he was riding around by himself, maybe doing some testing, so I didn't see a crazy amount of intensity, but he looked like Hombre. He looked just as good as ever, very comfortable, and the dude is a past national winner. He's run with pretty much anybody and everybody on the gate, so if the 21 is firing on all cylinders, then I would expect much better than an 8th place, especially due to the fact that I think he's fighting for a ride, as it looks like Sexton is going to take his place at Kawasaki. But Anderson's another one. I really don't know what we're going to get. It could be great, it could be a departure from the series, or really anything in between. In seventh, I'm almost surely selling this guy short, but I just don't know if I can straight up put him ahead of any of these guys that I have ahead of him in my rankings. But I have Justin Cooper, and really, I expect some breakout rides from him. I would not be surprised if he wins a moto or maybe an overall at Colorado. I have a good feeling that he'll take advantage of being really good at that track and really light and maybe get a win there. And I know what you're thinking. If you think he's going to be such a breakout guy and maybe get a win, how are you putting him in seventh? Well, the problem is every single guy in front of him, I think the exact same thing, or maybe even more of all of them. In sixth, I've got AP Aaron Plessinger, and it may just be a little bit of personal bias as to why I picked him in front of Justin Cooper because I feel like it's really a toss up between those two, especially outdoors. They were really close last year, and I think it'll be similar this year. But with AP, he's very confidence dependent, and I know he's feeling really good heading into outdoors. His starts are exactly where they need to be. And when this guy puts himself in the right positions to do well, he usually follows through with it. And I think he builds off of the summer he had last year after many podiums, although it is going to be a tougher field this year. I think he might just be a little bit worse results-wise, but still right in the mix. Then in the 5 spot, this is the most intriguing rider in the class for me, the number 70 on the Monster Energy Kawasaki, Jorge Prado, 2-time MXGP champion. And I gotta be honest with you guys, if he were coming over here after no injuries in Supercross, and on his gas, similar setup to MXGP, I would 100% be picking him as a championship contender, but I just feel like after being hurt in Supercross, new series, new bike, new everything, I just feel like there's a few too many unknown variables for him to be a championship contender right out of the gate in year one. Now that's not to say he won't build into that. I still think he wins a race, wins motos, and is a podium guy on good weekends, but I just think the bad weekends are what's going to put him back in the 5 spot. Because coming from Europe, there are going to be some uncomfortable situations, and it's all going to come down to how he handles them. In the 4 spot, oi mate, I've got Hunter. After being runner-up in the championship last year and several moto wins and being really close to Sexton, putting him back in 4th is a little bit of a tough one, but the guys in front of him are animals, and also Hunter is coming in after a shoulder injury in Supercross. Now his brother Jett is also coming in off of an injury just like Hunter is, but the only problem is that I think Hunter is human and Jett is not. No offense, Hunter. He's going to be awesome all season, but I just think he's going to be a tick behind these top 3 guys that I have on my podium. He'll get good starts. He'll be in the mix for moto wins and podiums, but I just think these last 3 have a little more dog in them. In the 3 spot, I've got Eli Tomac, and I really wanted to pick him higher. I've become so much more of a Tomac fan over the last few years, mainly due to the fact that he's still with us, he's still racing, and also a side note, I'm an even bigger fan because he followed me on Instagram after a crash reel last winter in Arena Crash. Just imagine E.T. sitting back in Cortez, drinking a beer in the offseason and watching people launch themselves into the stands. I love it. But the reason I can't pick him any higher than I have is because reports are that his leg injury has not been quite as smooth of a healing process as they had hoped. He's apparently still been dealing with some pain when he gets on the bike, so I don't really expect him to start off red hot at round 1 or maybe even round 2 or 3, but I think by the time we head east, ET Beast Mode is going to be rearing his head and thinking about a comeback. Then down to the 2 spot, I have Chase Sexton, and I think he is going to be unreal this season. He was awesome last season, tons of wins ever since Jett Lawrence went out, but the only problem is I think Jett is kind of his kryptonite, and Jett's a freak. I just think he's the best guy right now, so I think Chase is going to be by far his biggest threat. I think he'll challenge for moto wins every weekend, and I think he'll get some, but I just think the difference might be the mistakes because we all know Chase is going to have to send it to the limit to hang with the Aussie that is Jett Lawrence. So he's going to be good. He's actually going to be great, but I just don't think it's quite going to be enough to be number 1 this season. And not much suspense leading up to my champion, but I'm picking Jett Lawrence to take this thing again, just like 2023. I really don't think anything can stop him, barring a freak bike issue or another injury or something out of the ordinary. If he loses this thing straight up, I will be absolutely shocked. I mean, we saw the kid go 22-0 as a rookie. I saw it trackside. I saw it as I was getting lapped firsthand. It was unbelievable. And even last year, racing through injury, he was still getting wins on the weekends until he had to vacate the series. And even though he's coming into the series after an injury in Supercross, apparently he healed mutant style super fast and has gotten plenty of testing in. There has been a lot of drama surrounding the Lawrence camp, especially with the whole Lucas Myrtle deal. But I think Jett's going to be able to tune it out, silence the noise, and go ahead and get this thing done without choice, of course. But there's my top 10, and needless to say, only 10 guys can go in it, kind of obvious, so I had to leave a lot of people out. Now we'll go ahead and get into everybody that didn't make my top 10 list. More factory guys, foreign racers, all the people on the B teams, the privateers, and everyone in between. First off, we got Justin Barcia. He was the toughest one out of all these guys to leave out of the top 10, but reports are that he will actually miss round 1 as he's coming off of a late season injury from Supercross, so I think he'll just be trying to build into it, and he'll be down several points early. Then we got RJ Hampshire, and I cannot believe this dude. He just had surgery like 30 seconds ago, and he's already back on the bike. Dude is tougher than a set of woodpecker lips, and he's going to be a rookie in this 450 motocross class. I don't know how I feel about his chances with him just coming off of a surgery, but if he can make it through the summer, RJ's a dog, he'll build, and he'll get in the mix. Colt 45 and no zigzags. He just zigzagged on the field at Glen Helen for the preseason Stopwatch National and MotoFest race, raking in $20,000. Now, I kind of expected him to get the win, but he still looked really good, and I expect him to be right there in that 10 to 15 range, knocking on the door of top 10s all season until the injuries hit, and then you can catch him in the single digits. And Colt 45 has a new teammate in Frenchman Benoit Paturel from the MXGP series, and he has just signed a deal with Twisted Tea Suzuki to contest in the entire Pro Motocross series for the team this summer. And he could really be a dark horse this season on the Just Kickin' It Suzuki. Those MXGP guys are a different breed, they're gnarly, and I expect a lot out of Benoit. And here's another one, I'm just going to say he is going to be a dark horse for the summer. Cody with a T, Cody Shock. And for a very small guy, he is an unreal 450 rider. Tons of style. I know he's comfortable on the bike. The club guys say he's looking good. And if we see him get great starts, run up front, and get tons of top 10 finishes, I will definitely not be shocked. Get it? Then we got some more guys on foreign excursions. First up, the Italian Nicolas Lapucci. Not sure how many rounds he's in for, but I know he signed up for round 1 with the ISRT Kawasaki team with Bubba Puoli. Finnish ripper Harry Kulas is back for another summer, grinding it out with the boys after an injury in Supercross. I think he's listed as from Estonia, but I swore he was from Finland, at least at some point. But outdoors is this dude's bread and butter. We've seen him in the top 10. Hell, he even qualified for Super Motocross last year just off outdoor results. Now, this is the exchange student I'm most excited to see, Valentin Guillot, a privateer on the MXGP circuit, and they race for no prize money over there. So when he gets a check with 4 digits on it at the conclusion of the Pala National, barring anything going wrong, this dude's going to be stoked. And he has tons of talent. He's beaten Jeffrey Hurling straight up back in the 250 class, way back in the day. Tons of top 5, top 10 results in the MXGP series, and he could seriously turn some heads. Might have to be sending some people to the chiropractor. Then onto the Bar X Yamaha squad, new to Yamaha's, all for the Kickstart Kmart Suzukis from last year, but they have Derek Drake, who is fresh off of some Lyme disease, heart issues, and everything in between, but he's at full health now, and he's looking really good in the preseason. And then they also have Max Miller on the 79 and Brad West on the 334, who made a few mains in the 250 West Series this year in Supercross. Can't forget about everybody's favorite privateer, especially superfans, Freddie Noren. And this dude is so underrated outdoors, there's actually a pretty good chance that he throws himself in the top 10 at least a few times throughout the summer. But he gets loose, he may have a bad moto here and there, but it's all in the contract. Go Freddie. Grant Harlan on the Rock River Yamaha. This dude never gets tired. He's down with those 3 to 5 business day motos. Put a big tank on the dude and he'll still run it dry and still ask if he can ride some more. And then his teammate, Marshall Welton, I think he's going to be coming in a little behind the 8 ball as he had a knee surgery right after the Pulpamex Privateer race. So I don't know if he'll even be there for the opening rounds, but he's going to have to build back into it. But he's another one. He's a grinder. The outdoors are his bread and butter. Jeremy Hand is always a staple in the 450 class as a journeyman privateer, always has a 2-digit number, always shows up just him and Pops and kicks ass, puts it in the points. Then we have Derek Kelly. He's got 2 jobs, maybe 3, and he don't get tired. But I saw him ride at Glen Helen last weekend, and he looks really good heading into the season. And also, on a Yamaha this year, he hit the Upgrade National. What about the boys from Beta? Well, there are going to be some on the gate at least a round or 2, but I'm not sure it's going to be either of these 2. Freckle, Mitchell Oldenburg, just announced that he had a broken pelvis and is going to be out for quite some time. Not sure of the status on Benny Bloss, so I can't say whether he's going to be there or not. But I do know of a couple of betas that are going to be in the mix. Not sure how many rounds they're going to be at, but I know they're going to be at least at Hangtown. One of them is going to be Dare DeMartile, an off-road NGPC racer from the West Coast, and this dude is super underrated. He put in some good performances at the Glen Helen Stopwatch National, along with his teammate Bryson Gardner, younger brother of team manager Carlin Gardner, and he's another one. He could put in some really good results. And then they've got a support rider, my boy CJ Tucker. He'll be on the gate for Fox Raceway, trying to be the first person to put a beta on the gate in Pro Motocross. Then we've got a few more guys from the French connection, the first being Roman Pape, and he has been really good the last few seasons here in the US. A pretty consistent top 15, top 20 guy. And then another one, Scotty Verhage, I'm not sure, I'm sorry. All I do know is that I'm not saying his name right, and he rips. Another two-digit guy, Lorenzo Lucurcio on the 74, riding for his own team on the Wildcat squad. And if he's healthy, he'll be a definite threat for top 20s every weekend. But last year, he raced injured all year and he was struggling. The Partzilla PRMX Kawasaki team is supposed to be racing in Canada this year, but the season doesn't start until next weekend, so I believe they're using Fox Raceway as a warm-up for their series, and they're going to have Mitchell Harrison on the gate. Then we have Bryce Shelley, not sure if he's going to be part of that Rock River Gizmo mod squad or not, but he landed himself a national number again last year with the 97, and I think he's a better outdoor guy, especially on a 450, than he is in Supercross. Privateer HVAC legend Justin Rodbell is still a little bit up in the air as to what his plans are for the outdoor season. He told me he was going to race round 4, the first East Coast race at High Point, and then kind of reevaluate and see how it goes. Then we have his fellow Maryland native, Tyler Stepik. He's earned national numbers in the past, but not last year. He'll be on the 314 Yamaha, riding for, I believe, a new effort called MX6 Yamaha, and I think he's in for all 11. After beating the likes of Dax Bennick, Hayden Deegan, and many more in the amateur ranks, Matty Jorgensen has had a rough couple of years, but he appears to be in for the 450 class in outdoors this year. I think this dude is only in for Paula for round 1, but he could really surprise some people. Mason Simmons from Australia, an NGPC off-road racer, just watched him get third with a ton of good privateer talent on the gate at Glen Helen over the weekend. Would not be surprised at all if he throws himself in the points. Then we got B-Ray. This guy's a dog, and he can ride anything, but he's going to be riding red this summer in the 450 class. And he's actually under the radar, been a grinder in outdoors, several top 15 and top 20 results in the 450 class and in the 250s now that I think about it, so he should be a consistent points threat. Then we got a couple more foreign rippers riding for a Husky team. We got Tristan Perdon from South Africa, a Red Bull guy, wow, no choice, and then Charlie Putnam from the UK. Motocross Action Zone, Josh Moseman, I believe, is in for the first 2 West Coast rounds. And if they'd let him, the dude would probably ride a different bike for every moto just for the magazine. We got Jaywalk, Jeff Walker, doing it for the tube, and I sure hope he posts some POV from qualifying, because I promise you guys, you're not going to see any of that out of me anytime soon. And then last but not least, the 199, it is absolutely not Travis Pastrana, not even close to it. It's John Short. Not sure where the guy's been all year, but in the past, he's been really good outdoors, and he could be a surprise that comes out of the woodworks and puts in some really good results this summer. But that's all I got for you guys for my 450 Pro Motocross preview. If you're racing and you didn't hear your name, please don't get butthurt. It's not you, it's me. The entry list doesn't even quite look final, so I'm doing my best here. Tried to talk about as many people as I possibly could. There's no way I could do a video talking about everybody, but we did what we could. We have no choice, and I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, let me know in the comments what you think about my predictions. If you think they're decent, if you think they're way off and I'm cooked, or even if you want to throw shade, you know we're here for all of it. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.